Alright, Tyler, so where's the actual cherry bombs at, man? Because 4th of July is in a few months and I'm gonna need some of that good shit, and I know you know who has it. Don't you fucking lie to me. What's going on, everybody? It's the Granddad of Granddad Woolly, and you are here again for another edition of Woolly Reviews Hip Hop Data. Today we got an album review today. We're going to be talking about the brand new album from the frontman of the LA rap collective Odd Future. This nigga's back. He dropped one out of nowhere, so we had to holler at it. Talking about Tyler the Creator, Cherry Bomb. Now, for those who aren't familiar with Tyler the Creator, he is a young LA rapper slash producer slash director slash TV star. This nigga does a lot of shit. He's got businesses and he's taken this Odd Future group and movement and just made it into a whole fucking corporation and conglomerate. And this motherfucker's only 24 years old and he's doing big things. He first came onto the scene with his debut album Bachelor, which I really liked, and then it landed him a deal with XL Recordings, and then he dropped Goblin, which is what kind of catapulted him into the mainstream attention of everybody. He then followed up with Wolf, and that was sort of, I guess, like a 3-part trilogy, those 3 albums. And now Cherry Bomb is sort of like the aftermath of all those 3 and sort of where Tyler is now in his life and his new, found position and everything like that. So now let's talk about the album and see what Cherry Bomb has to offer aside from all those other albums that he's been putting out. Now, the first time I listened to this album, I realized it was real chaotic and kind of all over the place. It really sounds like a Cherry Bomb. A Cherry Bomb is just explosive and chaotic and loud and everything like that. And that's what this album is. The instrumentation on here and the beats on here are so all over the place, but it's got a real heavy rock influence. You can tell that Tyler, he is a big fan of like Pharrell and NERD. You kind of hear that on here, but he also plays around with a lot of instruments like horns and a lot of synths and a lot of piano keys and things like that. Tyler is a really good producer. I really like his production chops, and he's getting actually better and better as time goes along. Now, the thing about Cherry Bomb that really doesn't make this album something that I really gravitated towards at first listen, or generally in general even after a few listens, is the fact that even though it's got a lot of lush instrumentation, it's really badly mixed on all levels, vocally and musically at sometimes. The whole album, there's a few cuts that are passable, but the majority of this album suffers from a very poor and terrible mix. On top of the fact that it's all chaotic and clustered and there's no direct theme to it, that kind of pulls away from the album for me. And a lot of these songs are just generally not good. Not on just a mixing standpoint, but just as far as a song standpoint. I really didn't gravitate or listen to any of the songs that were like, oh, this is a really great song. The song was either bad to me or it was just okay, but I never got excited about listening to any of these records on this album. And at first I thought because it was so different and there was so much to it, but after a few listens I still got that same feeling. It's a lot different than what I got from Earl's album, where it was a very low-key, sort of grimy and dirty mix, but it fit a tone and a mood, and you can still understand and hear what Earl's saying. On this album, you can barely make out what Tyler's saying on certain tracks. Like on Cherry Bomb, it's just really loud. Like Tyler is so drowned out, and then the subs on that, it's like a heavy rock track, but the subs on that are so fucking high and peaking so high that it's just like nerve-wracking to try to listen to. And that's just one song, but there's a few songs. Like actually the good middle chunk of this album is pretty much like that, and it doesn't get too much better. Some songs do get a little bit better and listenable, but for the most part, the majority of this Cherry Bomb album is just chaotic to the point where, to me, you can barely listen to it. But it's not like terribly like, oh my god, I hate this album. It's just, it suffers from poor sound quality at times, and that really draws back from what Tyler's trying to do and say and trying to portray. Now, I don't know if this was a purposeful thing that he was trying to do or if it was some kind of tactic, but unlike Earl, on this one, it didn't work for me personally, and I did not enjoy a good amount of these tracks. Now, the tracks that I did listen to and enjoy, they weren't like, oh my god, they were just, hey, this is a pretty cool track, I like the instrumentation on it, or, Tyler, I like his energy on it and things like that. But Tyler the Creator, for me as an artist, has always been hit and miss. Some records I really like from Tyler, and some I just couldn't care for at all. And this is what it is on Cherry Bomb. A majority of the records on here I really don't care for on a mixing and just as a general song standpoint. But I don't want you guys to think that I think this album is terrible, garbage bullshit, because it's not. There are redeeming qualities to this album that I did enjoy. As far as the instrumentation and production on here, this is some of Tyler's best production in my opinion, and I like the progressions on here. I like the different instruments on here. I like the breakdowns on here on some of the beats, and it really does sound good. And the times where you can't understand and hear what Tyler's saying, he's really actually showing you who he is as a person and where he is right now. And just really evolved as an artist as far as, going away from all of the violent and all of the immature stuff that he used to talk about back when he was younger. You can tell Tyler has matured as a person and has grown up, and it's really good to see that he's actually evolving along with his production as a person and as an artist, which is really dope. Now, you know I gotta give you my top 5 tracks, and strangely, there are only 5 songs on this album that I generally like, so you just fucking made it, Cherry Bomb. So let me pull it up, hold on. You know I'm never ready. One day I'm gonna be ready for this shit, y'all, but not today. Okay, so the first track, of course, Death Camp, then it's Buffalo, and Find Your Wings, then Fucking Young / Perfect, and Smuckers. Those are my top 5. Now with Death Camp, which is the opener for the album, I really like the NERD influence of the beat on here. It's real high paced, got that rock influence, and it sounds really good, and it's a good opener track, got a lot of energy, and Tyler brings in that same amount of intensity and energy, and I like it. And this is one of the actual tracks where you can actually hear what Tyler is saying, and he's actually, I think from what I'm getting from it, he's watching a movie, or the video for it is he's in the theater and he's watching the movie. I think this is referencing him to watching the Wolf trilogy or the Wolf movie that he's so-called made or is going to put out, and just him in the theater reacting to it and being, you know, kicked out or some other shit. It's a lot of what ifs or what's going on with this theme of this album that's unclear to me, but I'm thinking that's what it is. And then it's just him talking about stuff like, you know, this is where my life is now. You know, you guys are paying for tuition and I'm paying for a mortgage. He's doing so much better with what he's doing. And he just figured out that, you know, he's happy. He's in the happiest point of his life. So Death Camp is sort of like him killing off all those demons that he was talking about in his previous work. And Cherry Bomb is just like him sort of with a new, revitalized, happier Tyler. That's what I'm kind of getting from that record. So maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I pulled from it. Now, Buffalo, I really could not really get into as far as vocally what Tyler was saying, because this is when the mixes started to get a little weird, but I do like his energy on here, and it also uses that same sample from Numbers on the Board, the Pusha T song, and the beat is really good too. It's got some nice synths on there, and I just like the sound of it, and it's really one of the better tracks as far as production wise for me personally. The next track, Find Your Wings, is another song that I really like based off the instrumentation. Now this is one where Tyler doesn't even actually rap on here. It's a lot of singing on here. I don't know who the girl singer is, but she's really good on here. But the real shining moment of this track is the actual production and instrumentation on it. There's trumpets, there's like xylophones or glockenspiels or whatever you want to call them. There's a good amount of strings on here, nice, you know, bass on here, a lot of good instrumentation on here. The progression on here is dope, and this is actually one of my favorite records on this entire album. And it's kind of sad because Tyler's not even rapping on it, but just as far as an instrumentation and a production standpoint, this is one of Tyler's shining moments in this album, and I really, really like this record. The next song is Fucking Young / Perfect, which I really like. This was actually the single, I believe, for the Cherry Bomb album, and I like this record because of both the instrumentation and the concept and content of it, where Tyler is talking about the fact that he's in love, or he at some point in his life he was in love with a girl who was underage, and he says she's perfect, everything about her is right, it's just she's too fucking young, and he just can't get involved with that because he doesn't want to get into any trouble or anything like that. And he's also terrified at the fact that when she does turn 18, that he's gonna just, like, you know, not know what to do, or he's gonna freeze her, or he's just terrified about that because, you know, he doesn't know if he's ready for all that type of commitment or whatnot, because, you know, he just doesn't want that pressure on him. It's a good track. I like that one. He's actually rapping and singing on there, and he actually does, the beginning he sings, but it's real comical how he does it, where he says, I can't fucking sing, whatever, but the way that he does it is real entertaining, and Tyler's just a funny dude when he wants to be and when he can be on records like this, so I like that joint. The last record on here is Smuckers featuring Lil Wayne and Kanye West. Now this is probably the most hip-hop track on the actual album, where it's just straight rapping, and it's got its first sort of head-nodding type beat, but it's not like the greatest track. I heard a lot of people saying, oh, this is one of the best tracks ever. I think it's because of who's on the track, but it is a good track. It's probably one of my favorite tracks. It's very solid. Tyler, Creator, comes in with a dope verse, but it's really Kanye who shines the most on here. With lines like, Nike gave a lot of checks, but I'm the only nigga to check Nike. You know, shit like that. Kanye just with his arrogant, braggadocious, but his own charm, and he really stands out on this verse. And Lil Wayne actually brings a solid verse too, which is refreshing because, you know, Lil Wayne, you know, when he wants to, Lil Wayne can rap. And on this record, he actually came to rap, which is actually pretty cool. And I think just, you know, as far as a track is concerned, it could have been a better track, but it was a pretty decent track, and there's a good amount of instrumentation, and there's actually a beat change on Lil Wayne's verse. He gets sort of like a different beat other than Kanye and actual Tyler, but it's a really decent track, and I did enjoy it. But for the most part, those are my top 5 tracks, and those are the only tracks on there that I really got something out of. The rest of the album I really couldn't care for. It was more of a forgettable experience with just something that I couldn't listen to, and I think as an album, Cherry Bomb could have been a lot better, but I don't know what he was really going for, but I just didn't get anything out of it that, you know, I thought I would as far as other albums that he's put out. So my final verdict, I'm not saying that Tyler, the Creator, Cherry Bomb is an overall subpar album with a few redeemable qualities. All I'm saying is that for the fact that it does have a really good amount of instrumentation and Tyler's production is really good on here, it just suffers from a terribly, terribly poor mix overall, and it's just something that at times is very unlistenable, and it's just so all over the place that you really can't grasp the full theme unless you know what Tyler was thinking, or you are a super, super Odd Future fan that knows every detail of his previous albums up to now and why he's doing this way. But as an album to listen to, there's not really that many good songs on here other than the 5, and those 5 aren't really that great anyway. There's no songs over here on this album that I was like, yo, this is like an amazing song. It was either, like I said, a good song, or it was just a song that I couldn't fuck with. So for me, I have to give Tyler, the Creator, Cherry Bomb, not a not Granddad approved, but a just barely Granddad recommended. So you've just made it, Tyler. I hope that your next album, if you do a next album, is a little bit better. You get a better mix on here, and you know, you just kind of tighten it up a little bit better on here, and you make a few better songs. But overall, you do have some redeemable qualities, and your production on here is really good, and I'm liking the production chops you got. Just hope that the next album I get more out of. But that's all I gotta say. Tyler, Creator, Cherry Bomb, just barely Granddad recommended. Flip it. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Make sure you give me a thumbs up and drop a comment. Tell me what you think of Tyler, the Creator, Cherry Bomb if you heard it. If you haven't heard it, like I said, there are a few redeemable qualities, but I just think that it suffers from too many flaws for it to be a really, really good album. But that's my opinion, so don't shoot me for it, Odd Future fans and stans, alright? Just what I have to fucking say. Previous video was on the side as well as my music video. Check those out, showing some love. And as always, Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, Instagram. Links in the description below. And subscribe. Button on the screen, button below. Woolly Reviews, twice a week, gaming channel. Check that out. New videos Monday through Friday, and they're all hilarious. And I got nothing more to say. So until next time I take my leave, Granddaughter, Tyler, the Creator, Cherry Bomb. Yeah, it's okay. Well, it's not as great as I thought it was going to be, but it's got some stuff. I'm out of here.